I would like to take this opportunity on behalf of King Misuzulu, Gazwelithini, that he's the one who said I must come here. So, in as much as I'm making the inputs, if you see anything wrong that I've said, refer to him and say, the guy you sent, he said very wrong things. And if there are good things, also go tell him to say, he said very good things, that guy who was here. So I'm very grateful, acknowledging Your Majesty. Let me tell the people that your daughter, Unoxolo Dalinjebo, is married to my elder brother. Yes. So we are family. It was good that we are sitting together. And during your time when you were still in incarceration, we came to your house just to support your mama, I think it's a couple of years ago. So I'm happy that we are here. And may I also acknowledge other realities that are here, distinguished guests, corporations, all protocol observed. I wouldn't have endorsed anything that is being done here until this last presentation. Because I told the Queen that I'm distracted because I don't have the hindsight and then the insight and the foresight of what happened before we come here. And therefore, we're trying to find our balance. But the few presentations that I listened to, and the alignment of 1913 on the 19th of June, I pick up that it is relevant, this exact date. When you calculate it, it's 109 years. 9 being a number of giving birth. So we are giving birth today of something. So what are we giving birth to? Let me, for those who are, I want the highlights. When the news caption comes, the headlines come, capture it right. Say that the restoration era of dispossession of the kings and their rulership and their power by law of this land, it has now been restored. Capture that. Now, I'm saying capture it because I want to kill some few debates that are going around in the media. The land expropriation bill without compensation. I'm saying as a law student, there is no need for that legislation. I'll tell you why. Because the matter has been judged in the highest court of the land in favor of the people. But short of proclamation by the executive head of the country, because it was good for their business not to announce that, because they knew that the kings are illiterate and they cannot read and they cannot understand and they cannot process the outcomes of the judicial system of this country and the parliament. But they took us to school, so we are schooled. Out of 28 years of the democracy of South Africa, I can take 23 years. And I was quiet, I didn't say anything. And I'm sure a lot of you don't know my forehead. You never saw me. But you are seeing me today. So it's for the first, I only came because the authority of our land said I must come here. Otherwise, I wouldn't have said these things. So I'm saying them with the authority, his authority, delegated to me. But it's delegating somebody who is knowledgeable about the matters you're discussing here. So when I'm saying we are endorsing, I want you to understand what are we endorsing. We are endorsing that we will start afresh everything. So that the naysayers and the dissenting voices, when they come, I will take them to the laws of this land and say, go check the Likuleni case against the state on 2011, and then there, you go and print out a government gazette. check who is the landlord where Union Building is actually built. The capital city of the country. It says Delhi Kulenis. Those are the Ndebele people. No media is capturing that. And that is the story and the film I would like the lady who was talking about film to talk about. That's the film. Now, that's the true story. Because media must have content. Now, I'm giving you prima facie evidence that can stand in any court. Not a fiction. I'm giving you content. So that if you want to check it, go to the court, you'll find it. Politically, it is correct. Academically, it is accurate. Scientifically proven. You want title deed numbers? I can, out of my phone, leave them here so that we circle the matter. When you flight the matter in your film or your soapy stories or your news headline, you have proof. You know what is even painful? It is written in this document. Paid by the state for the Amandebele kingdom. 12 tribes of Amandebele. It has been paid. The debt, okay, if you say willing buyer, willing seller, that principle was adhered to. They were paid. The rich guys of the Pretoria East, the Erasmus, they were paid. They got the money. But then this guy said, don't move out of the land. We'll pay you more to remain there. And then de-gazette what should have been gazetted and then proclaimed. Internally, they de-gazette so that it sustains the person who's occupying the land under pretense that the land has not yet been reversed to its rightful owners. So money was paid, the guy is not moving out, and is given a bonus to remain. That's what is happening in the farms. They say the farming program of returning the land is not effective. No, it is imploded. They say to the white farmer, we pay you to say you are exiting. But we then pay you more to remain. Because once you exit, the blacks will invade back their land because they know it's their land. But don't tell them that. Tell them that the process is still going on. And it has been going on for 28 years. Now, I cannot keep quiet beyond this point. So I'm endorsing that. I'm a public management student. I can implement all the things you said you want to do. With the landlordship powers, the law says, he who has gold, make the rules. The golden rule. The landlordship rule says, if the landlord says yes, it's yes. If the landlord says no, it's no. There is a power, Your Majesty, that we must restore. When we governed this land, before the other settlers, we had judicial powers. When we said this must happen in this land, it happened. Until those powers were taken away, destroyed those judicial structures to make way for the Roman, Dutch, British law. Since then up to date. That's why we have a democracy that just gave us a vote. But that vote, you can vote now more than 5 administrations since 94. They don't return a piece of land after you voted. You call this democracy? Majority rule. 78% of the South African population is outside the economic circulation. So who is in charge? Is it the 78% or it is the 22%? And then you have 87% of the land occupied by the 12%. 87. Then the 78% majority is residing on a 13% something of land. What kind of arrangement is that? Scientifically? Legally? You say this constitution is the best constitution in the land. Let me say it as a law student. It is unimplementable. Why I'm saying that? Why do you put Section 25, which says protection of the property of the minority, yet you're introducing us to majority rule? We sit in parliament, we are many, but our vote is meaningless. Because the constitution using the judicial system is neutralizing the powers of the majority so that the majority cannot reverse their gains that were dispossessed on the 19th of June, 1913, Herzog Bill Land Act. Now, so there is no politicking in South Africa that we are doing that will reverse these things. I'm saying it with comfort. It's been 28 years. The matter was judged in 2011. No media is capturing that even now, even if I'm sitting with evidence. And I'm puzzled as a law student. Where are we at? Don't tell me about CODESA talks. Let me unpack CODESA. Yes, I was young, but I know what happened there. Go and ask them, where is the declaration of our independence after the CODESA talk? Where are the minutes of those talks? Who presided in the CODESA talk? Because the landlord is here. His Majesty of the Abatembu, he was not part of the discussion. In fact, all kings in South Africa were not invited in CODESA. I'm saying about Mandela, the one we elevate so much. Him coming from their tribe, didn't invite them, acted as if he does not remember that they were kings here. and then, you see now, he didn't. Yes, he didn't invite them. But guess what? When he left office after 99, handing over to Ubaba Thabo Mbeki, he went and reclaimed back Imvezo, his land. He did that when he was even out of office. And he instructed Mandla Mandela to say, go and reclaim our land after 87 years since they left Umvezo. He managed to do that for his own. He couldn't do that with all political powers he had for all of us. Now, so we can reverse the CODESA talk and say they were null and void. Why the landlords were not present. So it was guys who combined themselves and they talk about the Congress of a Democratic South Africa. So we are yet going to have a CODESA. But leave that because they are politicizing that. Come here. I want all the lawyers. I want the Chief Justice of this country. He's saying is applying the Constitution? Is it constitutional to have a matter having served all courts and not being proclaimed? Even if it is gazetted? By the way, government gazette means it's a publication of government decision. So a decision was made, but it was suspended for strategic reasons. Do you know that judgment, it even spells out that the money that was accumulated from 1913 up to date must be recounted, returned back to Amakos. Then everyone who claims to have a title deed, go and renew your title deed to the landlord based on the outcomes of that government gazette. Now, if you guys here agree with my madness behind my method, then I endorse this thing you are talking here. And I'm ready to say that we will start implementing KwaZulu and Nasa Eastern Cape. Wherein myself, I will be leading from the front in the implementation of every detail because we'll cross all the T's and tick all the boxes to ensure that justice is done. So you can't hoodwink me out of what I'm saying and say anything better. If you don't like the outcomes of the judgment, which is a judicial system of this country, let's agree to disagree then. To say an unjust law is no law at all, because it is only good when it serves the colonial master. When it is now favoring the slave, we must then reset everything or undo everything. Unfortunately, when you undo, which means you return back everything from where it was, and unfortunately, Before 1913, things were with the kings. Let's return that. If you say, no, it's illegal, I have just presented you a legal case to that. Now, I'm waiting to see who else has a dissenting voice to what I'm saying. But watch out, if you have resistance to that, you are just telling us this judicial system must be undone and removed and do what we call restorative justice. And what is restorative justice? It is where you return the legal instrument of old, of the natives of the land. May I unpack a little bit of that? The law that must rule in South Africa, it is the native land's rule. Not by virtue of it saying Roman, Dutch, British. No. In law, we have what we call a law of jurisdiction. Now, what jurisdiction are we on? That is South Africa. Now, what law are you applying? Foreign law in a foreign land that is null and void, according to law. So it's not applicable what we're doing. It's wrong, if I can put it blunt. But because we think we don't understand the law, then we will accept everything. So which means, let's settle the matter that the law we are using, yes, it is right in Rome. In Britain, yes, it is right. Yes, in Dutch, it is right. But it has just been wrong here. Why? Here is the landlord. Where is his law that he was using? Surely it is not this one. Why are you hiding it? If you say you don't know which law we were using, let's remind you, my predecessor, King Tingswayo, untutored, he never traveled. He ruled KwaZulu-Natal. And he's the one who groomed King Shaka. He's the one who installed him in 1816. And in 1824, Sir Henry Finn and Farewell came to King Shaka's palace for the first time asking for shelter and to submit under King Shaka's rule. You know why they did that? Go read the book called The Olden Times in Zululand and Natal by A.T. Bryan, published in 1929. It says, upon realizing the British that we cannot build a British port in the Durban port of KwaZulu-Natal because there is a strong kingdom in the interior, let's rather go and implode them from within. Meaning, under pretense, go and submit under King Shaka. They went. They stayed since 1824 until 1828. You remember what happened in 1828? That was the death of King Shaka. How did he die? In English terms, we call it the co-conspirators who killed King Shaka. We say Mkabai, Mtangan, Dingan, and Mbopakastai. How was that plan executed? He was told not to go into war when the regiment went into war. He must remain. Whilst he remained, the co-conspirators also remained, didn't go with the regiment. And what happened thereafter? They found him sitting on his chair, waiting for the outcomes of the war. Unfortunately, they came with the spears and killed him. But check what happened after his death. It was the invasion of the white settler who colluded after their departure from the Cape region, the British, the African and the Voortrekkers, they left the Cape in 1820 using the Garden route, which is the route we are on, and the interior of the Free State route, going into the interior until they arrive in KwaZulu. In KwaZulu, they then realized it's a contested terrain, and some of them, they went even further up into what we call Transvaal that time. Transvaal means across Vaal River, by the way. Now, those are the dynamics of what happened. From 1828, Shaka dies. 1830, King Dingaan takes over. 1840, King Dingaan dies. And then Mbo Mpande takes over 1840 up until 1867. And then Mthetwa comes in. By the way, Mpande was assisted by the Afrikaners to defeat Dingaan. And Dingaan is the only Zulu king who is not laid into the king's grave side. He's actually in Ngwavuma area, Yojozini Dam area, in the land of the Nyawo people. And that's what the politics of Swaziland and South Africa is determined, and KwaZulu determined on, because a grave of a famous king is right there. But my point is, this is the order of kings of the Zulu kings, up until the current king. Now, the talk is that we must take back Ingonyama Trust. The ruling party failed to secure the land back into its own forebears. The very land that is in the custody of a black king, they want to take it back into the hands of what is not even in the history. There is no history record that said land belongs to government. There's none. Go check your history. And that history is not written by the blacks. It's written by the white people. In case you think the blacks may have added something that is not there, go check it. It is even in Britain. You'll find it. My point is that why take back that which we, the kings, in 1912, established what is called ANC today. Kings and pastors, they established ANC in 1912. They were establishing it because the Afrikaner and the British agreed to, in Vernaching, to make a peace treaty, but to exclude the natives from what they would call a union of South Africa. And the union was not about the blacks. It was between they called the British and the Afrikaners. In 1910, they said, aibuye na lizwe lihamba. Here the country, the land is being taken. Let's converge. They converged in Vayuk in Bloemfontein. It was kings. Come 94, the only thing that came, one man, one vote. My question, did we lose a vote? No, we didn't lose a vote. We lost the land. What is it that you're bringing? One man, one vote. Okay, what does it mean to say one man, one vote? It means Elke, Feifiare, Modchanda, and Stem, and all Selkedel. And then after, what happens? Nothing, just cosmetic relationship. No, man, no, you're playing fool. I'm endorsing then. I'm giving you this background so that you understand what I'm endorsing. If we agree, I'm happy if somebody's capturing, because they will say, no, he endorsed us, provided. So I'm endorsing the entire program if we give power back to the kings. Kings are now beggars. Kings are now being paid a salary. But you know the rule of who is the landlord. The one who's landlord is the one that should be collecting all the rates. But not even the municipalities are having that money. Individuals are having it. Within our constitution, then they have this private property bill. You know what it means? It means it's even giving elite powers to individuals who've got economic power. That's why in 94, we said, let's give this black political power, but keep them away from the economy. So economy was deliberately left out of the discussion. No wonder we are stage managed. 28 years later, we talk. All this talk is cosmetic and it's good for the media. But it's not helping us. We've been voting. It is now time and the order of kings. And if you think that is just a political statement, even God does no longer like it. God approves of kingdoms as his principal institution. So, this order is even affirmed and endorsed by God himself. A great revival is coming in the continent. And it is going to come through Africa. And in Africa, through South Africa. And in South Africa, through KwaZulu-Natal, if I can take that challenge. Why? Because we are the only remnant that still controls 2.8 million hectares of land under the kingdom. All the other kings are kings by title and a certificate, but the land, it is held by the state, which according to the law, if you are a minor, your rights are held by a legal representative, which means these kings are minors, according to the South African context. That's why they don't deserve to hold their land. It's very wrong. We must end it. Therefore, I'm endorsing that this program must happen. Thank you.
Everybody rise. Ke sikhahlele sonke sithi azwelakhe. 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 Oh, in honor of his king, because he has been sent. Amisizu. Amisizu. People, please sit down. Please be seated. Please be seated. Who could have said it better? I have been educated myself. You know, I've been just in school for a moment. Sometimes we know just who we are, but we just don't know what we own and what we have. You know, we need people like him just to enlighten us, just to strengthen us, you know, just to show the people what the truth is. You know, the other day, in fact, the law is the law of the sea, which is the foreign law. The law that must apply here should be natural law, the law of the people, the law of the indigenous people of this country. Not just any law from anywhere. And our politicians, just beggars, and they pretend to be in charge, and yet they're just puppets and Popeyes. Guys, one of the things that was a misunderstanding between myself and the former President JZ, he wanted to give me a certificate as a king. I said, to hell with your certificate. I don't need your recognition. I am a king by birth. You know. Whether it hurts him, Thabo Mbeki, Nelson Mandela, or any other politician, to hell with them all. Bagit, recently, another fool, a deputy minister of land and agricultural whatnot, comes to me saying he intends to return to us the 13%. That was, you know, the 13%, that was a colonial, what you call, insult, which means the ANC itself had taken that remaining 13%. Now they're saying they're returning it to us. My question is, didn't you add even 2%? Let alone the 87. But at least 2%. Can't you add something on the 13? But gentlemen, I don't want to waste your time. I just want to show you how foolish. Do you know my title deed? My title deed of our farm at home. It's granted by the Queen of England. I mean, what a joke. What kind of a joke is that? Look, I had been voicing out that I want to issue out title deeds to my people, or deeds of grant, or PTOs. No land affairs in my jurisdiction will anymore issue that kind of nonsense. You know, I am the man in charge, and everyone will toe the line. Whether you have military power or political power or Popeye power. So we have this kind of a political scenario of clowns, you know. Clowns playing big in a small town. And they want us to salute them as heroes of the revolution. What kind of heroes are these? Ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to say our respected martyr, Nelson Mandela, truly sold us out. Truly sold the Africans out. And his followers actually toed the line with excellence. And if you defy them, they have nothing else for you but jail, just like their predecessor, the African rule. They are no better. You know, if anyone is saying we are wrong when we say the African National Congress was in fact a good successor of the Nationalist Party. They took the reins to defend the gains of oppression, not to reverse the oppressive measures for Africans to be turned around and advantaged in order to rule their own land. And they believe that they are the masters of the game. The other day I was called in court about a squabble between myself and my son. The judge in court expects me to stand for him. I said, to hell with you, I won't stand for you. And then he makes a decision about my farm to the favor of my son. I went to destroy the house. Yes. And if they say perhaps I was hiding away from that, I did it because of that judgment, a foolish judgment. Now, let me show you another. Although I congratulated your statements before I sit down, before I endorse. Before I endorse. You know, ECDC. ECDC is a custodian of certain properties in our region, including houses, whatnot. They were prepared to make an agreement with thugs called Paktoa, just thugs, instead of making an agreement with the owner of the land, kings and chiefs. Just thugs, cheap thugs. Why? Because it explains who they are. A thug will make an agreement with another thug. So what should we respect in that sort of a thing? After all, I'm grateful for what you've just done. I salute. But guys, I just don't want to take your time. I just wanted to say these few things and to say to you, I endorse this 100%. This is a program that speaks for the people. Yes. We do not doubt who we are. There are people who've been coming up with schemes and schemes. I've been throwing them out of the window. Why? Because they didn't make sense. For the first time, people are making sense to me. And I bow down, uneducated as I am. Does that mean my education comes from the Almighty God? Gentlemen, it's been a long day, but that's where I end my speech. I salute you, Your Royal Highness, for everything you have said here. You have inspired me immensely. Thank you very much. And I think everybody has learned one or two things from your speech. Thank you very much. Allah, Allah! Aha! Allah, Allah! Hallelujah! Thank you.